As young Tommy lay in his bed, he was startled awake by the sound of footsteps outside his room. Peeking through half-closed eyes, he watched in horror as the door creaked open. What awaited him on the other side would haunt him forever. Welcome to our channel, where we explore the darkest corners of human history and uncover the most chilling tales ever recorded. Today, we bring you the terrifying account of 10 horrifying events that will leave you trembling with fear. From Catherine's encounter with shadowless men to the blood-curdling deeds of the Hungarian blood countess. These are the stories that haunt the darkest recesses of the human psyche. The last event on our list is one that will scare the living daylights out of you. So, if you're brave enough, prepare yourself for an adventure into the unknown. This is not for the faint of heart. Number 10, the Shadowless Men. Long ago in New York, Catherine, a lady in her early 30s, visited a 10-story building in the heart of the city one mid-afternoon. As she parked her vehicle and began walking towards the building, which was about 200 feet away, she felt the sensation of being watched from behind. Turning her head, Catherine saw 3 people walking towards her, which made her feel uneasy. Quickening her pace, Catherine entered the empty entrance and headed towards the lift at the far end. As she entered the lift, she noticed the same 3 individuals rushing towards it. Acting swiftly, Catherine pressed the lift button for the 5th floor. Unfortunately, the doors closed and the lift began to move. However, her uneasiness only intensified. Upon reaching the 5th floor, Catherine hurried towards the nearest window and observed the 3 individuals walking out of the building. A sense of chill and fear gripped her, and suddenly she realized what was amiss. Staggered and sweating from fear, Catherine noticed that while other people walking around cast shadows, these 3 individuals did not. In that exact moment of realization, the 3 persons looked up at the 5th floor window, sending shivers down Catherine's spine. Number 9, the delivery. In post-World War II Berlin, money was scarce, supplies were limited, and hunger was pervasive. Amidst this hardship, tales circulated about a young woman named Sarah who encountered a blind man navigating his way through a crowded street. Engaging in conversation, the man asked Sarah for a favor: to deliver a letter to the address written on the envelope. Since it was on her route, Sarah agreed without hesitation. As she set out to fulfill the task, Sarah glanced back to check if the blind man needed anything else. To her surprise, she saw him swiftly moving through the crowd without his smoke glasses or white cane. Suspicious of this action, Sarah decided to report the incident to police. Upon investigating the address on the envelope, the police made a chilling discovery. 3 butchers had been engaging in the horrifying practice of harvesting human flesh and selling it to the starving population. Inside the envelope given to Sarah was a note with a chilling message: "This is the last one I am sending you today." Number 8, the man behind you. In the bustling city of Kent during the 1990s, Tommy found himself captivated by the enchanting Mary, the belle of their class. Yet, he never mustered up the courage to express his admiration directly to her. Instead, he stole glances whenever he could, whether in class or on the train ride home. But today was different. Tommy decided to take a bold step and follow Mary off the train, trailing behind her as she walked onto the sidewalk. Keeping a cautious distance, Tommy hoped to surprise her, his heart racing with anticipation. As Mary unlocked the door to her house and disappeared inside, Tommy crept up the front stairs, his nerves on edge. Summoning his courage, he rang the doorbell, the sound echoing through the quiet street. Mary opened the door slightly, recognizing his face, and gestured for him to come inside. With a mixture of relief and anxiety, Tommy stepped into the warmth of Mary's home, only to be met with a worried look on her face. "There's a guy," she paused. "There was a guy follow—" "Yeah, it was me," The words came out of Tommy's mouth before he realized what he had said. "I know that," Mary sighed in relief. "But I'm talking about the man behind you." A chill ran down Tommy's spine as the doorbell chimed once more, the butterflies in his stomach freezing in place. Number 7. The Staring Portraits. In the late 19th century, deep within the dense forests of the Appalachian Mountains, Joel, an experienced hunter, found himself disoriented after a long day of tracking game. As dusk descended and the trees loomed ominously overhead, he pressed onward, determined to escape the suffocating embrace of the wilderness. After what felt like an eternity, he stumbled upon a secluded cabin nestled in a small clearing. With darkness creeping in, Joel cautiously approached the cabin and noticed the door slightly ajar. Finding no signs of inhabitants, he cautiously entered, seeking shelter for the night. Inside, the hunter discovered a single bed and, with weary limbs, settled down for some much-needed rest, intending to explain his presence to the owner come morning. As he lay there, surrounded by an eerie silence, Joel's gaze wandered to the walls adorned with intricate portraits. Each painting depicted figures with twisted features, their eyes seemingly filled with malice. Unease prickled at Joe's skin as he felt the weight of their hateful stares bearing down on him. Refusing to succumb to fear, Joel turned his back to the unsettling images, hoping to find solace in sleep. Yet, even in slumber, his dreams were plagued by a sense of unease. Awakening to the rays of the morning sunlight filtering through the window, Joel's bleary eyes scanned the room. To his astonishment, he realized that the cabin contained no portraits at all, only windows. Number 6. The Hills Have Eyes. The Hills Have Eyes is a chilling tale rooted in history, inspired by the real-life saga of the Bean family in the 15th century. Sonny Bean, alongside his wife, relocated to a remote cave in Ice Shire. Struggling with poverty and lack of employment, Sonny resorted to robbery in the vicinity of their cave. Fearful of reprisal from his victims, Sonny devised a macabre solution to eliminate anyone who crossed their path. This gruesome decision birthed a new dilemma: what to do with the remains. The Beans resorted to cannibalism, consuming their victims to sustain themselves. Over the course of 2 decades, the Beans had 14 children, who, tragically, were raised with the same gruesome diet. Their actions resulted in an unprecedented number of missing persons cases, haunting the region with fear and uncertainty. The reign of terror perpetuated by the Bean family only came to an end when King James I mobilized an army to hunt them down, putting an end to their horrifying spree. Number 5. Monsters Under My Bed. Every night, John made it a point to tuck in his son, Michael, knowing that it was their silent tradition, one they both cherished deeply. As John entered Michael's dimly lit room, he immediately sensed something was amiss. Despite the familiar setting, Michael wore an unusually large grin, stretching from ear to ear. "Are you all right, buddy?" John inquired, concern etched on his face. Michael simply nodded, the grin never faltering. Before requesting, "Daddy, could you check for monsters under my bed?" Suppressing a chuckle, John obliged and knelt down to peer underneath the bed. To his shock, he found Michael laying there, pale and trembling, the true embodiment of fear. Michael whispered hoarsely, "Daddy, there's someone on my bed." Number 4. The Writing on the Wall. As young Tommy lay in bed, he was startled awake by the sound of footsteps outside his room. Peeking through half-closed eyes, he watched in horror as the door creaked open, revealing a menacing figure carrying the lifeless bodies of his parents. Without a sound, the intruder placed them on a nearby chair and proceeded to write something on the wall using their blood. Tommy's heart raced as he realized the danger lurking in his own home. Terrified beyond belief, Tommy struggled to comprehend the situation. Unable to decipher the cryptic message on the wall and knowing the murderer lurked beneath his bed, He feigned sleep, hoping to escape unnoticed. Every nerve in his body tensed as he lay motionless, listening to the faint breaths emanating from below. As the minutes stretched into an agonizing hour, Tommy's eyes adjusted to the darkness. With trembling hands, he strained to read the ominous words scrawled on the wall. His breath caught in his throat as he made out the chilling sentence, "I know you're awake." A wave of terror washed over him as he felt a shift beneath the bed, confirming his worst fears. Number 3. Don't go down there. Eleanor was diligently working on her homework in her room upstairs when she heard her mother, Charlotte, calling her to come down for dinner. Startled, she rose from her desk and started to make her way towards the stairs. However, before she could take a single step, she felt hands grab her and pull her into the laundry room beside the staircase. Eleanor's heart raced as panic set in, but as she looked up, she saw her mother, Charlotte, standing before her with tears in her eyes and a haunted expression on her face. "Don't go down there, honey," Charlotte whispered urgently. I heard it too. Number 2. The face cavity. Emily notices a mysterious red bump forming on her face. Perplexed, her family attempts to decipher its origin, but even a doctor's examination proves futile. Meanwhile, the bump continues to grow, causing Emily discomfort and incessant itching. As days pass, the bump swells ominously until one fatal evening, during her bath, it suddenly bursts. To Emily's horror, a swarm of tiny spiders emerged from the cavity, revealing that their mother had laid eggs within her cheek. Number 1. The Blood Countess. Vlad the Impaler may have been the inspiration for Count Dracula, but the terrifying legend presumably stems from the Hungarian countess known as Elizabeth Bathory. Widely regarded as one of the most evil women in history, Bathory, also known as the Blood Countess, was notorious for allegedly torturing and killing hundreds of girls and women, usually servant girls, between 1950 and 1610. Stories say that she even bathed in and drank their blood to keep herself young. Bathory was found guilty and sentenced to house arrest in her castle, but the legend of Dracula would never have become a horror benchmark without this villainess. Which of these stories left you trembling in fear? Share your thoughts in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest tales of darkness and dread.